called microsuction. So I went and got my ear de-waxed yesterday, actually, and I wrote a poem about it called Microsuction. I got my ear de-waxed today. I watched them flush the gunk away. The auditory detrital goo shooting down a suction tube. Views of ear tubes refuse effluvial build-up removed. Impacted cerumen unblocked. Redacted chat once more unlocked by full surround sound. I was rocked. No muffled murmurs, what a shock. The birds, the cars, the whistling breeze. All taken in with total ease. Conversations not impeded or guessed at once repeated. No further notice needed. Each new speech was fully heeded. But now I have to sock it to you. And yes, in truth, I must be blunt. Better to have a blockage in you when your interlocutor's a cunt. This one, I know it's not Burns Night anymore, but it was yesterday, and I wrote one that's kind of tangentially related to Burns Night, and it's called An Address to the Blaggers. So, it's once again that time of year. Caledonian friends far and near recite the poet they revere, so draw in now and lend an ear. Though we speak not of a certain food, we hope you will not find it rude that to this night we do allude, with thoughts of those not always viewed. An address to the blaggers, to the laggers, to the taggers, the jagged carpet baggers, the braggers, flag shaggers, to the gaggers and the draggers, the hagglers, the stragglers, to the drags and the hags, the handbags and glad rags, the haggard, bedraggled, slack drunkard who staggers, the raggle-taggle masser, cloak and dagger, chin waggers, the frazzled, the bedazzled, the razzle-dazzled defraggers, the swaggering gaggle of wannabe Mick Jaggers, the stackers, unpackers, the ragged boot blackers, the lackeys, the quacks, the cranks and the hackers, the happy clappers and nappers, the hippie hacker-sackers, the sappers and the flappers, the celebrity pappers, the dapper scrappers, the tap slappers and crap rappers and wrapped crappers, the flat-jacketed cracked actors, the contractors, destructors, historical reenactors, the rich benefactors and raffish attractors, the hapless satrap redactors, the whacked flat-pack collapsers, the cash-strapped perhapsers, weightlifting prolapsers, the trampled bit jumpers, the scamps still in pampers, the tramps, vamps and glampers, the amped-up dark lampers, the rampant foot stampers, to the spankers, the bankers, the banshees and wankers, the half-empty tankers and let me be frankers, the wranglers, the rankers, the stranglers and flankers, the mangled by cankers and star-spangled thankers, the buyer-fred danglers and anchorless anglers, the war-weathered wanglers and warped-leathered tanglers, the panderers, philanderers, the scandalous panhandlers, the backhanded banterers and track-stranded canterers, to the ramblers, gamblers, mad scramblers and amblers, and to allay where naysayers will flag a major snaggers, to one Robbie Burns and his infamous haggis. This next one is unfortunately still a bit topical. She got fired not that long ago, but she's still kind of hanging around. So this is called A Problem Like Suella. A disgraceful adieu to that ne'er-do-well Suella. Someone this country needs like an outbreak of Shigella, a new bubonic plague or endemic salmonella. But do not be confused, this dismissal will not quell her. The rancid genie's out the bottle now, we can't return to cellar. Her rightward tilt is potent, Yaxley Lennon's back in play, like some bone-headed boomerang you just can't throw away, fermenting protectionist violence on, that's right, Armistice Day. A taste of who's emboldened by the Braverman agenda, the position she's holding, even Goebbels would befriend her. And I'd rather douche with Baba Ganoush, play chicken with an angry moose, down a gallon of prune juice, crack open King Tut's cursed cartouche, use toilet duck as an amuse-bouche, star in clown porn as Scaramouche, be run over by a train's caboose, cradle rabid dogs and a sling papoose, do shots poured from a sewer sluice, then see her fascist whims let loose. But so while some solace from her exit surely can be found, much like lingering flatulence, she'll still be sticking round. This next one is for Lee, and it's called That Ain't Half a Nice Shirt, Brother, and it's a true story of when I was drinking in the Prince Albert, which is my local pub just in Peckham, and I was there with my friend, who's a lovely chap, but rather innocent and oblivious, and this couple, a little bit inebriated, decided to start cracking onto him, and he had absolutely no idea. And I thought it'd make a funny topic for a poem, so here it is. Now on the evening down the Albert, as we had a pre-club brew, in the corner was a couple who had clearly had a few. They duly approached our table to engage in idle chatter, but what they really wanted, well, that was another matter. To my mate, they started talking. Yes, they'd taken quite a shine, and gregarious in nature, he gave freely of his time. How do you do, where you're from, and other such pleasantries, shifted rather quickly once a couple felt at ease. But ain't half a nice shirt, brother, with its most becoming cut. If I had that kind of clobber, well, I couldn't help but strut. And ain't half a nice shirt, mister. Now a woman chimed in too. You must be fighting off for ladies. Can I be front of the queue? Such effusive observations grew more fulsome in their tone. It sure brings out your eyes, mate, this fine garment that you own. With its simple linen finish and neatly crafted stitch, it ain't half a nice shirt, brother. Things continued at this pitch. As my friend remained chatty and oblivious, their discursive advances grew increasingly lascivious. As they steered the conversation in this suggestive direction, I wondered why they'd chosen such a source for their projection. Not to disparage my associate's sartorial selection, but the raiment was quite plain and did not deign such close inspection. This exchange served to explain just how innocent my friend was. Though amorously ardent with proposed menage a trois, application of their charms was not going to get them far. Had he realised, an alarm would his demeanour have marred. From any such engagement he would himself have disbarred. Being of a mindset quite conservatively trad, he'd be disinclined to find whether a good time could be had. Yes, for my friend, all such slight chances could only ever end in stasis. And as for me, I guess I'd take it on a case-by-case basis, but this time I'd have declined, because they both seemed kind of basic. And I'm going to do one longer one called Panopticon Conundrum. It'll become apparent what it's about. Of the concepts that cast shadows long, there's quite a few among the throng, the collected works of Cheech and Chong, the finer points of Falun Gong, the archetypes set out by Jung, why Cisco fetishised the thong, the exact nature of friendship between tiny planets Bing and Bong. But within this poem, we'll go on to ponder the panopticon. Can this benthamite structure still prove instructive, or is the motif no longer productive? A construct redundant and largely reductive? Is it only an image remaining seductive for incurably eager armchair Foucauldians who gaspingly harp about its vaunted podium? Is this a stance to be met with opprobrium, or for intellects incontinent conceptual Imodium? The fact that this piece has even been written may hint just a little at my supposition. So where lies the significance of this visage of omniscience? First, the physical solution to subdue institutions and realise the execution of a smoother retribution, meant to curb a constitution of those aimed at dissolution, with the threat of being what? A fact of a prosecution that ensured the diminution of attempts at revolution. Could this construction concentric, feigning constant attention, diminish recidivist criminal tension? Did Bentham intend his brother's inventions to bend the conventions, not just a detention? Are the utilitarian ends that he mentioned served by the concept's creeping extension into the realm of the self's reinvention, where, beyond the cylindrical structure is built, the scintilla of cynical systems instilled to psychocyted center infect one's own will? As dissident missives are silently stilled, dismissal illicit intentions or frills, vicissitudes dissipate, governed until disintegrative apparatus are nil, internalized mechanisms have their fill. You've paid at the entrance, you've swallowed your pills, you've made your confessions, you've twisted your ills, you've listed transgressions, you've mopped up your spills. The vertiginous scope of surveillance instills a paranoid vision militantly drilled, which solidifies cyclical scenes that cavil, with any reflections now neatly distilled into miniature sessions of crippling guilt. In time you won't wonder as you become skilled in clipping the wings of dissent and its ill. Belittling difference implicitly kills a resistant impetus being fulfilled. Diminishing quizzical quibbles you shield for the quickening censure of keyboard and quill. Extending a pretense it's grist for the mill, but the benefits never quite seem to be real. Deficit grows correlative to the zeal with which we impress the strength of appeal. What fragments of self do we take as concealed, and what the performance that's only revealed in light of the stare of the imagined gaze of peepers that creep in unknowable haze? Are we all Ariadnes in search of a maze, or just scrambling mannequins grasping for ways to obtain the unreachable through our displays? Perhaps we're players in perceptible scenes, a fleshly extension of portable screens, descrying designs of inscrutable means whilst mindlessly scrolling, patrolling the reams of pornography, cat pictures and memes. As data is mined and every click noted and ratings assigned, approved and upvoted, we traverse always viewed in this gamified life, validate being seen by acquiring likes. Almost none are immune to the dopamine spikes of what we perceive to be positive sight. But what of attrition, the strife and perdition, that shadowy side of the human human condition. Anonymity grants an implicit permission to savagely dismiss another's position, or by the same token to glorify what will always ineluctably be what we're not. In our aspirant fashions, we sell ourselves short, all our info coordinates ripe to be bought, as targeted ads and consumerist fads purport to dispel what is making us sad. The disorderly courting of hollow appeal warps ordinary stories to imagined ideals. Do we see in ourselves an implied evanescence if we fail in the recording of all possible progressions? Is a deliquescence of a personal into a public presence a force for reinvention or another veiled suppression that coalesces with obsession for curation of impressions that express a professed message that's fallacious in its essence, or the pomp and puff indicative of substanceless expressance, or a litmus test for zest and a life lived in effervescence? Will humanity's concrescence with technology's excessence offer hope and revivescence, or just further our depressions? Perhaps it's too imponderably nebulous to see, and Jez and Michelle cannot tell us what they think might be. Any hot take on the optics may prove myopic, it is true, but as you ogle all proposals, remember nothing's out of view. Thank you.
Wow.